9 a.m. I hereby call this meeting to order. We need an approval of today's agenda.
I make the motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from last meeting. Need a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so approved. New business. New business. Okay, seeing none. Old business? Old business. Okay, certification list.
I believe I'm up first with police officer. Of course, you know about that position. I want to talk a little bit about this continuous process that we started back in January of this year, essentially keeping our application window open for an extended period of time. And I think that's going to be our new reality because there's definitely an advantage to the applicants. Let's per se, or just for example, if a particular individual does not pass the physical ability test for some reason, or doesn't pass the written examination for whatever reason, previously they would have had to wait until the next application process opened and then reapply to be eligible. Now they can go right back in, and if there's a future testing date, they can go ahead and schedule for that next date. So it keeps them in the process, keeps them engaged. And I think it just works out better, not only for the applicant, but even just for us having an open process. I don't have to say, well, applications aren't open right now, or this is our new window. You know, applications are open. So for this process, it was open from January 6th to July 17th. I closed it on the 17th, but then I opened up a brand new process on the 17th. The reason I did that is we updated some of our internal documents and guidelines, and I just wanted to start with a fresh new process. So essentially the first 6 months of the year it was open. We had 101 qualified candidates to test. And of course, like a broken record, 61 never scheduled testing for whatever reason. They apply, but they don't follow through. The stats on the bottom part are from April 18th to July 17th. April 18th was our last meeting where I had a certified list of one officer. So between April 18th and July 17th, we had 27 additional qualified candidates apply, and they were invited to test. 11 of those never did schedule, 2 withdrew from the process. 14 candidates passed the physical ability testing and then moved on to the written examination. 11 candidates passed the written examination, and they were invited into the background and polygraph component. 8 of those passed the background, and they were invited to the final interview. And of the 8, 5 passed the interview. And I'm happy to report that for your perusal today and your approval, we've got 5 on the list. I don't recall when my last list of 5 was. I mean, the previous list was 1. I think the one before that was maybe 2 or 3. But to have 5 on a list, I'm very excited. They've all accepted the position. They started on August 21, and the academy starts August 28. So I would entertain any questions, but I'm just thrilled to have 5 on the list for you too.
Where you keep the whole process open all the time, have you had any that have gone back after they had failed either part of it?
And
they succeeded?
I didn't track that as well. I will be in this new process. I'll be doing a better job of tracking those individuals, how many, failed, gone back, reapplied, and so I'll be able to specifically state how many, essentially how many within this new process has it benefited. So I'll be able to provide that in future statting or future meetings. Because yes, we did have some that are on the list of 5 that did not pass something along the way, and that were able to be successful because we had an open process.
Great.
So I think it was good.
Very good, thank you.
So that's all I have, and then of course all the stats. And I will turn it over to Gina. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, so the first list that I have for you today for certification is our compost equipment operator. It is a promotional position in the compost division of Public Works. The written exam was weighted at 100%. So applicants need 2 years of experience operating large front end loaders, yard waste grinding equipment, monitoring compost equipment operation, driving trucks or tractors, and monitoring and testing or an equivalent. They also need a Class B CDL and obtain their Class A within 6 months of hire. They may also be required to pass a state of Iowa certification. And then we have our physical background and residency requirements. So we had 9. Yes,
May be required to pass. What makes the decision on,
sure,
or they
right?
have to have it as opposed to, no, you don't have to.
As of right now, it is not a requirement by the state of Iowa. The state does have a certification for compost equipment operators. There is a possibility, if the state were to make it a requirement of employees working at a compost facility to obtain that certification, we want to make sure that that expectation is known to our applicants and employees.
That in the future, they may be required.
In the future, yes, in the future.
What would happen to an employee that did not, didn't pass it, but they previously had been hired?
Sure, we would have to evaluate that situation on a case-by-case scenario.
What does that mean?
So with us, what we'd end up doing is we would give them a length of time that they would actually have to obtain that certification. If for some reason there was an issue, we'd provide them with the study materials, we'd actually pay for them to obtain the test. With them being a current employee, because it was not an expectation before, we might allow them a longer time to test, possibly.
I think it would depend. And maybe you could liken it to getting the Class A CDL if they weren't able to do that. Depending on the amount of time it would take them to get a required certification, they do have rights to go back to a previous position. So they may decide, I can't do this, I'm going to go back to my previous position. We would work through that with them. So we're not looking to kick anybody out, but if the state requires a certification and we are required to make employees or make sure employees have that, but we would work with the employee, and ultimately it's a promotional position, so they could potentially go back to a previous position.
Okay, so if they don't make it, they get bumped back and are at that salary range that they had made before.
They could do that, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So we had 9 applicants, 8 were qualified and invited to the exam. 1 did not show, leaving us with 7 candidates that passed the exam and are on the list to be certified. And our stats. So next,
Just information.
yeah,
Person's a current employee and they applied,
yes.
but then they don't show up for their test. I mean,
Candidates don't always reach out to state why they're not going to show up. It could be for multiple reasons. It could be change of heart. Maybe they have a different scenario that came about, such as a family situation where they decided that it was best. But without speaking to the candidate, I wouldn't know why they did not show.
and you don't usually do that.
Typically, no.
Okay.
So next is our packer driver loader position, which is an entry-level position in the solid waste division of Public Works, and it is a 30-70 split. So applicants need a high school diploma or GED equivalent and have 1 year of experience operating solid waste vehicles and equipment or related automotive equipment, and then have their Class B CDL with air brake endorsements. So we had 22 applicants. 11 of them were qualified and invited to the exam, and 8 did not show. 3 candidates passed the written exam and were invited to the interview. 1 did not schedule their interview, leaving us with 2 candidates that passed the interview. 1 passed the background check. The other one was a current employee and previously passed it, leaving us with 2 candidates on the list to be certified. And our stats. Okay. Then moving on to our senior permit tech. So this is an entry-level position in the Development and Neighborhood Services Department. And we have a 30-70 split. Applicants need to have a bachelor's degree in construction management, which is preferred, or completion of an associate's degree with 3 years of experience in construction management, architectural design, or environmental sciences, and then have knowledge of design principles and building codes, requires the ability to perform computerized operations based on Windows Office environment, and then have a valid driver's license and then obtain their certification as a permit tech by the International Code Council within 1 year of employment. We had 6 applicants. 4 were qualified and invited to the written exam. 1 did not show. 1 scored below 70%, leaving us with 2 candidates that passed the written exam and invited to the interview. Those 2 candidates passed the interview. Again, 1 candidate passed the background check. 1 is a current employee previously passing that background check, leaving us with 2 on the list to be certified. And our stats. Last is our fire captain, which is a promotional position in the fire department. For this, we had a 45, 45, 10 split. So the written exam was weighted at 45, practical was weighted at 45%, and the interview was weighted at 10%. So applicants need to have 1 year of completed service as a fire lieutenant within the Davenport Fire Department, have knowledge of Davenport streets, have their Instructor 1 certification, advanced training in incident command, and a 2-year degree in a fire-related field or an equivalent college-level courses relevant to the position. Okay. And then their driver's license requirement. We had 10 applicants, all being qualified and invited to the written exam. All 10 of those actually passed the written exam and were invited to the practical. 4 scored below 70% on the practical, leaving us with 6 candidates that were invited to the interview, and all 6 candidates are on the list to be certified. And our stats.
Okay, now, I guess maybe it's out of our range, but now this, we were called and said that apparently there were some issues with the qualifications, or some were concerned with it.
Certainly, anytime a candidate takes a test like this, it's a 2-year list, so candidates only have an opportunity typically every 2 years unless we would exhaust a list. Anytime concerns are brought to us, we review those, we review the process and all of that. In this situation, we reviewed all of the feedback that was provided, both constructive and positive, and decided the process was fair, competitive, and move forward to certify the list. So we're comfortable recommending this list be certified to you.
Okay, well, I guess the other question was, you were concerned that they would want to talk to us. I guess nobody's ever talked to us, I guess, other than for the hearing on the grievance.
So sometimes a person may feel strongly that they want to be heard. We provided them with that opportunity, and I think, as demonstrated, we've got a list to be certified. We're comfortable moving forward. So sometimes people just want to be heard when they've got feedback, and I provided them individually with that opportunity, and I'm comfortable recommending that this be certified.
Isn't this something kind of beyond our scope of our authority? I mean, I guess the other question would be, now, these are probably not, I assume, non-union positions?
These are union positions.
Okay, so they could follow the grievance procedure then?
The grievance procedure would be separate from the commission.
Yeah.
So the commission's role is to ensure and oversee the testing processes. You kind of bestow that to human resources to administer those tests. We make sure they're fair, competitive, equitably administered. So that is your ultimate authority, but you, I guess, kind of leave it to the experts to make sure we are developing valid and job-related tests.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
On ethnicity, there's the initials or the letters AM. I haven't seen that one before. What does AM stand for?
I would have to,
Is it American Indian?
I believe
I bet it's
so,
American
yes.
Indian.
That's what I was thinking, but yes, American Indian.
I just have not seen that one before, so thanks.
You're welcome. Okay,
Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the information presented in the certification list.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else? See, I parked on Harrison today for the first time ever, so I was afraid it could be a jinx. All right, entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.
15 minutes.